Hi everyone, my name is Emma Kuchler and this is Kyra Laster, and we are two of the marketing interns for the 2020 virtual Detroit Dance City Festival. This week we'll be meeting with lots of artists, choreographers, and dancers who are involved with the festival to learn more about who they are as dancers and choreographers, what their experience is like with the festival, and overall how they want to help create this culture of dance in Detroit. Today we're here with Leah O'Donnell, who presented work in the Rivera Court Showcase. Leah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, I'm Leah O'Donnell, as we just heard. And this was my first year with DDCF this past festival, and it was such a pleasure.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your piece, the title, the concept, who your dancers were?
Yeah, the piece was called Watch Her Disappear, and I had two really beautiful dancers. I was so lucky. One's name is Maddie Petz, and the other is Natalie Cantilino. And I met them both in Detroit at Wayne State a couple years back. Maddie is still in Detroit, and Natalie right now is in New York, based in New York, and came back for the festival. And the piece is actually kind of ironic because we had started working on this theme before we knew anything about the pandemic coming up, of course. But it was exploring two different sides of the same person, or two different sides of a woman's desire, sort of. One being to be kind of rooted and domestic and seek comfort and within your internal world and a domestic life, and the other to travel and have that experience, and the two different poles that are in one person a lot of times kind of conflicting. So we were exploring that beforehand, and then it ended up a little bit, fitting in these times, us being stuck inside and wanting to get out in a way. So, yeah.
Yeah. So did you have to make any modifications to the piece because of COVID? Like, was it originally a group piece and now it's a duet?
Oh yeah, it actually was originally a duet, so that was really nice that we didn't have to shift from that. There's one specific detail that we did end up having to shift, which was just there was a lot of use of the mouth, and there was a prop. So it wasn't fitting in times of COVID anymore. But so we worked around that, and yeah, otherwise it kind of worked out. The space was perfect for it too.
Awesome. Yeah, the whole Rivera Court is so beautiful. It's like the perfect background for dancing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's stunning. My mom and dad actually worked at Ford Rouge plant years ago before I was born. So there was something sort of full circle about that too, getting to watch a performance I created in front of it years later in Detroit.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. Cool. So you did say this was your first year with DDCF. So what made you apply as a first-time artist?
Yeah, I think just being around the community in Detroit. I went to school at Wayne State, and then I had met Jury just as being in the community, and I did a workshop that we were both involved in, I want to say at the very beginning of the year. And she was just so open and warm and giving with everyone in that experience, even though that wasn't even something she was running. So yeah, I saw this and wanted to apply for it. And I also the DIA is so epic and beautiful, and just, yeah, really nice to have something be there.
So you mentioned that this was your first year at DDCF. What were your expectations for it? And then how did that compare to the actual experience of it being virtual?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I had no basis on what to compare a virtual festival as being, but I think we didn't know right away that it would be in Rivera Court, so I didn't know that going in, and that was actually sort of a silver lining, that we had an even more beautiful space than intended, possibly. And then let's see. Well, I was worried at first about all the precautions, but DDCF was so careful about that with all the protocols, and on the way in, we checked in with someone about all of our symptoms, and So I felt perfectly safe, and it was a wide open space and just so beautiful. And I hadn't left my house hardly in months, so just that the next interior space I got to see was a museum was a real treat.
Yeah, absolutely. So you weren't performing, you were choreographing, but what was it like after months of, like you said, being in your house, being back in this artistic setting and with other artistic people for the first time in a long time? How did that feel?
It felt really nice. After a while, I think a lot of us and a lot of artists and dance makers, I guess, in general, we're feeling sort of cooped up because it's something that's hard to do with just yourself, and it requires space, and it's a very collaborative process a lot of times. So yeah, it's hard to get the momentum going on your own without knowing that there's an outlet and somewhere that will actually showcase it and bring people together. So that DDCF was able to do that was a really nice gift for the community. Not only, just having a space to show work, but having a reason for your dancers to come join you and create something new, and seeing everyone else's work and reminding each other that we can still be creative even in the middle of all these unknowns.
So what was it like actually seeing your work being like broadcasted instead of like watching it in a theater live?
Oh yeah, really different. Yeah, really different. It's funny without all the energy of the audience there,
Mm-hmm.
but in a way it was a similar thing. You have to sit down and focus, and it's still happening in real time, which is appreciated, and it's not happening from our living rooms, even though we're watching it from our living room. So it still had that feeling of the ambiance, and everything was very aesthetic and set and professional, but we're just watching it from home. So yeah, I definitely miss being together with people for that experience, but I don't think there's a better way that it could have been done with these circumstances. It was, they made something beautiful out of it.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky with social distancing and wanting to keep everyone safe, having those artistic outlets. But I'm even from like a intern standpoint, I love that there was just an opportunity for all of these artists to come together, even if we weren't physically together.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. And if we couldn't make one time, then we could watch another time online, and that's a special thing too. Often, if you're just not available at that one moment, dance is a thing that happens and then disappears. But this way, we could really keep up with everyone and what they're working on.
Yeah.
Are there any other thoughts or experiences that you wanted to highlight before we were done here? If not, that's okay.
Oh yeah, not too much. Just that everyone's been so kind, and yeah, I really appreciate it. It was such a blast, and I recommend it to anyone who's interested in participating.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Leah, for meeting with us today. Everyone should make sure that they head over to our YouTube page. You can find it on our Facebook and on our website, and go watch Leah's work again. She has two beautiful dancers. It's a beautiful performance right in the Rivera Court. You don't want to miss it. And stay tuned for more interviews from DDCF.